The stars stretched like silver scars across the void as the UHS Valiant glided silently through the darkness. The destroyer's hull, a sleek wedge of obsidian alloy, shimmered under the distant glow of Helix 9's twin suns. On the bridge, a low hum filled the air, engines purring, systems alive, and the crew locked into the routine rhythm of a deep space patrol. Commander Aiden Cross stood near the forward viewport, hands clasped behind his back. His dark uniform bore no unnecessary decorations, just a simple silver emblem of the United Terran Fleet. His gaze never lingered long on the stars. He was always scanning, always waiting for the silence to break. "Status?" Cross asked without turning. His voice was calm but carried an edge, a tone that cut through the soft murmur of the bridge. "All systems green," replied Lieutenant Harris from the operations console. "No ships detected within 3 light hours." "We're clear." Cross nodded once. "For now," he murmured. Helix 9 was not a system that welcomed silence. It was a violent place. Asteroid belts tangled with debris, erratic magnetic storms that scrambled sensors, and pirate raiders lurking behind every drifting rock. The Valiant's mission was simple: keep trade lanes open and ensure the safety of the colonies. But deep down, Cross felt the hum of something different, like a storm building in the dark. "Commander," said Ensign Rhea, the communications officer. Her pale face was drawn with tension. "I'm picking up a signal. Distress call, faint but definitely human." Cross turned sharply, his gray eyes narrowing. "Source: 2 light minutes out, near the Helix 9 asteroid belt," Rhea replied. "Signals fragmented. Sounds like freighter traffic. They're under attack." The bridge stilled. Harris looked up. "Pirates?" Cross didn't answer immediately. He walked to the tactical display, the holographic grid projecting the region's layout in cold blue light. A blinking red icon marked the source of the call, right on the belt's edge. "Not pirates," Cross said finally. "Too far out for them to risk it." "Rhea, isolate the voice channel." The speakers crackled to life with a chaotic burst of static and terrified shouting. "Attack, unknown vessel, hull breach, losing life support." Then silence. Lieutenant Harris cursed under his breath. "Unknown vessel? That's not good." Cross's voice was steady, deliberate. "Set a course. Full burn. Harris, bring shields online and prep the forward batteries. I want all scanners at maximum range." "Commander," Harris said carefully, "our orders were to avoid." "I know what our orders were. Cross, cut in. But if we sit on our hands, people die. We move." The engines roared, a low vibration running through the deck as the Valiant surged forward. Minutes later, the asteroid belt loomed ahead, jagged rocks tumbling in slow, menacing arcs. The Valiant slipped between them with the grace of a predator, its adaptive hull reflecting fragments of starlight. "Visual contact in 30 seconds, Harris said, eyes fixed on his console. Cross stood motionless, watching the black void as if daring it to reveal its secrets. Then the tactical screen lit up. A ship, massive, alien, unlike anything in human archives, floated among the shattered wrecks of freighters. It was sleek and angular, its hull an oily sheen of black metal threaded with veins of glowing violet. Energy pulses flickered along its sides, like lightning trapped under glass. "Holy hell," whispered Ensign Rhea. "That's not one of ours." Cross stepped closer to the display. "No, it isn't." The alien vessel loomed over the ruins of 3 cargo ships, their hulls split open like tin cans. Debris drifted lazily. Crates of supplies, torn metal plates, the occasional frozen shape of what had once been crew. "Commander," Harris said tightly, "its weapons are still hot. We're being scanned." Cross's jaw tightened. "Open a channel." Standard greeting. Rhea's hands flew across her console. "Channel open." "This is Commander Aiden Cross of the United Terran Fleet Destroyer Valiant," Cross said, his voice cold and clear. "You are in human-controlled space. Identify yourself." A beat of silence. Then the alien ship responded, not in words, but in a pulse of light across its hull, followed by a deep, resonant sound like metal groaning under strain. The bridge crew stared, baffled. "Translate?" Cross asked. Rhea shook her head. No language profile match. It's not any known protocol. Commander, Harris interrupted, their weapons are locking on us. Cross's gaze hardened. Shields up. Arm the lances. The hum of power filled the bridge as the Valiant systems shifted into battle mode. Cross remained perfectly still, his voice calm. We don't fire first. Not unless they give us a reason. The alien ship shifted, angling toward the Valiant like a shark circling prey. Its hull pulsed again, this time a bright, violent crimson. That looks like a reason to me, Harris muttered. A flash erupted from the alien vessel, a lance of violet energy slicing through the void. It slammed into the Valiant's shields, making the deck shudder. Shields holding, Harris reported, though his voice was tense. Minimal loss, 12%. Cross's lips curved into a sharp, cold smile. Return fire. Target their weapon arrays. Let's see how they like human steel. The Valiant roared to life. Twin fusion lance cannons fired, beams of brilliant white energy cutting across space. They struck the alien hull, which rippled like liquid under the impact. Minor damage, Harris said, frowning. Their armor's absorbing some of the energy? Then we hit harder, Cross replied. Fire again. Full charge. Another blast erupted from the Valiant, this one brighter, hotter. The alien ship staggered, its glow flickering for the first time. On the bridge, Cross's crew exchanged quick, tense glances. Humanity had never faced something like this, but they were holding their own. Commander, Rhea said suddenly, I'm detecting more contacts. Multiple warp signatures, big ones, dropping out of FDL nearby. Cross turned toward her, his voice low. Show me. The tactical display expanded, revealing a cluster of new red blips. 5 ships, each larger than the first alien vessel, were materializing on the edge of the belt. Their hulls were the same black-violet alloy, their shapes predatory and sharp. Harris swallowed hard. Sir, that's a fleet. Cross stared at the screen, calculating, thinking his expression unreadable. Then he spoke, his tone razor-sharp. Helm, get us out of the open. Thread the asteroids. Rhea, keep jamming their scans. Harris, charge everything we've got, if they want to fight. He paused, glancing at the glowing icons drawing closer. They're going to see what a human warship can do. The Valiant pivoted, engines flaring as it dove into the shadowed chaos of the asteroid field. Behind them, the alien fleet advanced like a tide of darkness. The asteroid field swallowed the UHS Valiant like a dark sea. Massive chunks of iron and frozen stone drifted in unpredictable orbits, colliding with one another in silent explosions of debris. The destroyer moved through the chaos with surgical precision, its hull gliding just meters from tumbling boulders the size of towers. On the bridge, tension hung like static. The lights were dimmed to red combat readiness, every console glowing with data. Commander Aiden Cross stood at the helm, his sharp eyes fixed on the tactical hologram. They're closing in, reported Lieutenant Harris. His voice was clipped professional, but there was a tightness there, as though he was wrestling down fear. 5 contacts, heavy signatures. Their scans are cutting through the asteroid interference faster than expected. Cross didn't look away from the display. They'll expect us to run. They'll think we're prey. We're not. Ensign Rhea spoke up from communications, her fingers dancing across her console. No translation progress. Their signals are strange, almost like they're transmitting in pulses of energy instead of language. I can try frequency modulation, but forget try to talk to them for now. Cross interrupted calmly. If they want to understand us, they'll learn from the barrels of our guns. The first alien ship emerged from behind a cluster of jagged rocks, its hull glowing with angry crimson light. It moved with an unsettling grace for something so large, pivoting and locking its weapon arrays onto the Valiant. Target lock, Harris said, teeth clenched. Cross's voice was steady, almost cold. Angle us 45 degrees, forward lances primed. Wait for my mark. The alien ship fired first, a jagged lance of violet plasma that shredded the space between them. The Valiant rolled to starboard, shields flaring under the impact. The deck shuddered, loose tools rattling in their compartments. Shields holding 87%, Harris reported. Cross leaned forward slightly. Fire! Twin beams of white-hot energy lanced out from a Valiant's forward cannons, cutting through the void. One struck the alien vessel across its bow, searing deep into the strange black-violet alloy. The second shot smashed into its engine core, sending a cascade of sparks and molten fragments into the vacuum. Direct hit, Harris said, his voice rising with a mix of shock and exhilaration. Minimal shield resistance. We've wounded it. The alien ship reeled, its crimson glow flickering erratically, but it didn't retreat. Instead, it screamed forward, weapons blazing in a relentless assault. Helm, rotate 3 degrees port and dive under that asteroid cluster. Cross ordered, his voice cut through the chaos like steel. The Valiant tilted hard, gravity compensators groaning as the ship ducked beneath a spinning boulder the size of a battleship. Alien plasma fire streaked overhead, carving glowing scars into the rock. They're adapting, Harris said grimly. Their weapons are recalibrating with every shot. They're learning our shield harmonics. Then we move faster, Cross replied. Rhea, patch me into ship-wide. The comms clicked live, his voice echoing through every deck. Crew of the Valiant, this is Cross. You know who we are. We don't run and we don't bow. Today we show them what humans can do. Hold your stations. Hold the line. A chorus of affirmations came through the comms. The crew was steady. Ready? The alien ship broke off momentarily, circling wide like a predator. But before Cross could order a counterstrike, Rhea's console flared red. Commander, multiple warps inbound, she shouted. The rest of the fleet is here. The tactical display bloomed with hostile signatures. For more alien ships emerged from the void, massive, glimmering with lethal power. Formation? Cross asked sharply. Harris scanned quickly. Tri-vector encirclement. They're trying to box us in. Cross's eyes narrowed. Not if I take away their box. Harris, prepare the lance batteries for rapid-fire cycling. Helm, take us toward the central gap between those two. Sir, that's threading a needle. Do it. The Valiant shot forward, engines flaring blue-white. Alien ships converged, their weapons painting deadly lines of plasma through the black. The destroyer weaved between them, darting behind a tumbling asteroid to block the brunt of their fire. Fire all forward lances on my mark, Cross said, voice like ice. 3, 2, mark. The Valiant's cannons blazed, rapid bursts of fusion energy slamming into the nearest alien ship's forward shield array. The violet glow rippled and cracked, and the third shot tore clean through its armor, leaving a molten scar across its hull. Direct hit. Harris grinned. They're vulnerable to rapid cycling. It's overloading their dampeners. Cross's lips curved in a thin smile. Then we keep the pressure on. The alien fleet shifted tactics. One ship accelerated, cutting across the Valiant's path, while another flanked from behind. The 2 remaining vessels maintained distance, their weapons pinning the destroyer between arcs of deadly fire. Commander, they're boxing us in again, Harris said. Let them, Cross replied. His eyes were sharp, calculating. Bring us closer to that forward ship. Minimal speed. I want them to think we're cornered. Sir? Harris glanced at him. That's suicide. Cross didn't blink. Trust me. The alien ship ahead charged its weapons, violet energy building in a blinding halo. The Valiant held its course, shield straining under enemy fire from behind. Wait for it, Cross murmured, eyes locked on the growing glow. Wait! At the last moment, the Valiant dove, the alien's plasma barrage sailed overhead and smashed directly into its own ally on the far side. A blinding flash lit the asteroid field as the second alien ship's shield collapsed under friendly fire. Now! Cross barked. The Valiant's cannons roared, pouring concentrated energy into the stunned vessel. Its hull cracked, violet light sputtering out like dying embers. One down, Harris said, voice tight with adrenaline. Rhea's voice broke through. Commander! Incoming message. It's a visual request. Cross's brow furrowed. Put it through? The display shifted, revealing the face of an alien unlike anything humanity had seen. Tall, angular features with shimmering metallic skin, eyes like molten gold. Its expression was a mixture of contempt and curiosity. "I am Lord Kavor," the alien said, its voice resonating like thunder. "You are human?" Cross straightened, his face unreadable. "I am Commander Aiden Cross of the UHS Valiant. You've attacked unarmed ships. You will stand down." Kavor tilted his head, as if amused. "Stand down? Your kind is untested. Weak. We will cleanse this sector." Cross's tone turned ice cold. "You think we're weak because you've never faced us. You'll learn." The alien's golden eyes narrowed. "Then come and die, human." The transmission cut. "Commander?" Harris asked. Cross's voice was calm but sharp as a blade. "Prep all weapons. We're not done yet." The alien fleet moved to regroup. The Valiant dove deeper into the asteroid belt, engines flaring bright. The next clash was coming, and Cross intended to make them remember this day. The asteroid field was quiet again, but only for a breath. The Valiant drifted between the shadows of fractured stone, her hull marked with fresh scars. Lights flickered across the bridge, systems struggling to stabilize after the last exchange. The crew worked with sharp, practiced precision, their motions quick and deliberate. Commander Aiden Cross stood by the tactical display, eyes fixed on the shifting red markers of Kavor's fleet. They weren't pursuing directly anymore. Instead, they had formed a wide arc, cutting off every likely exit. He could almost feel Kavor's presence on the other side of the void, a predator circling, testing, waiting to strike. "They've adjusted formation," reported Lieutenant Harris, voice tight. "Outer ships are sweeping the perimeter. They're pushing us toward the dense core of the belt." Cross didn't look up. "He's hurting us. Wants to corner us where we can't maneuver." Ensign Rhea glanced at him. "Can we break through?" Cross's gaze shifted to the holographic map. The central asteroid field was a graveyard of shattered moons, unstable, dangerous, but dense enough to mask a ship's movements. "We don't break through," he said. "We make them come to us." Far beyond the belt, aboard the flagship of the Carthac Dominion fleet, Lord Kavor sat upon a throne of polished black alloy. His armor shimmered like molten glass, every movement deliberate, controlled. The image of the Valiant burned on a command screen, tiny, defiant, still alive. "Primitive," Kavor muttered, his voice a low growl. "And yet they resist." A subordinate officer, draped in ceremonial black, approached. "Shall we crush them, my lord?" Kavor's golden eyes narrowed. "Not yet. I want to see how far their defiance runs before I break it." Back on the Valiant, the crew was silent as Cross outlined his plan. "Helix 9's core belt is unstable," he said, pointing to the hologram. "Magnetized dust clouds. Fractured asteroids on unstable orbits. We can use it. The Carthac rely on precision targeting systems. That field will blind them." Harris frowned. "It'll blind us, too. We could end up crashing into a rock the size of a city." "Not if we move smart," Cross replied. "We'll guide them into the field and let their arrogance do the work." Ensign Rhea hesitated. "Sir, with all due respect, that's a thin gamble." Cross looked at her, his expression calm but firm. "Everything about this mission is a gamble, but I trust this crew, and I trust this ship. We don't need to outrun them. We just need to outthink them." The Valiant eased into the dense belt. The asteroid fragments glimmered with reflected starlight, their surfaces coated with magnetic dust that caused the sensors to flicker. The destroyer moved with deliberate slowness, weaving between jagged spires of rock. "Shields at 72%, Harris reported. "Weapons cycling stable. Hull stress at manageable levels." Cross nodded. "Keep the lances hot. We strike the moment they come through." Minutes crawled by. Then the sensors lit up with movement. The Carthac fleet had followed, their ships cutting through the outer perimeter like knives. "They're spreading out," Rhea said, watching the display. 3 ships coming straight in, 2 circling wide. "They're cautious." "Not cautious enough," Cross muttered. On Kavor's flagship, the alien warlord leaned forward, studying the readouts. The human ship's path through the belt was erratic but deliberate. Clever, Kavor murmured. They're trying to make us chase them through the storm. His second-in-command tilted his head. Shall we avoid the belt, my lord? Lure them out? Kavor's lips curled into something like a smile. No, I will see the measure of this human commander. Prepare the strike ships. The first Karthak vessel entered the belt, weapons flaring. Its plasma cannons fired blindly into the debris, vaporizing smaller rocks as it pushed through. Contact! Harris shouted. Ship coming in fast, starboard side. Target their forward sensors. Cross ordered. Fire! The Valiant's lances roared, twin beams slicing through the black. One struck true, tearing a molten scar across the alien ship's prow. Sparks cascaded into the void, its glowing eyes dimming. They're disoriented, Harris said. We've blinded them. Good, Cross said. Helm, drift us deeper into the belt. Make them chase us blind. The Valiant darted between two massive rotating asteroids, the gap barely wide enough for its hull. The alien ship followed, but too fast, too reckless. One of the spinning rocks clipped its port side, ripping a jagged wound through its armor. Impact detected, Harris said with grim satisfaction. They're not used to fighting in a maze, Cross replied. As the Valiant repositioned, Cross opened a ship-wide channel. Crew of the Valiant, you've all seen what we're up against. This isn't just a fight for survival. It's a message. They think we're nothing. Today, we prove them wrong. The response came back, strong and unified. Aye, Commander. Meanwhile, Kavor's anger was rising. On his flagship, he watched as another of his cruisers scraped an asteroid, its shields buckling under the combined assault of debris and human fire. Enough of this game, Kavor growled. Crush them. Now. His flagship surged forward, its engines roaring with a deep hum that echoed through space. Back in the belt, Rhea's voice cut through the tension. Commander, the flagship's moving in. Massive power surged on their forward cannons. Cross's eyes narrowed. So, he's finally coming himself. Good. Good. Harris repeated. Cross leaned closer to the tactical display, his mind already racing. If he's here, he's exposed. And I'm going to make him regret it. The first blast from Kavor's flagship slammed into the Valiant's shields with bone-shaking force. Lights flickered, consoles sparked. Shields at 58%. Harris shouted. Cross didn't flinch. Return fire. Aim for his weapon arrays. The Valiant fired, fusion beams lancing out. The Karthak flagship shield shimmered like a storm of violet fire, absorbing the hits, but the energy rippled in uneven patterns. Minor dent, Harris said, but their shields are reacting. We can wear them down. The asteroid belt erupted into chaos. Ships weaving, plasma fire streaking like lightning, asteroids breaking apart under stray blasts. Cross stood steady, eyes fixed on the tactical display, reading the battlefield like a chessboard. Every move from Kavor's fleet was calculated, aggressive, but predictable. They think they have us trapped, Cross said quietly. Let's turn the trap on them. Helm, Cross ordered. Take us toward the inner belt. Harris, prep the heavy lances for overload shots. We'll punch a hole through their line. Rhea turned. Sir, that's close to the magnetic core. One misstep. Then we don't misstep, Cross said, his tone razor-sharp. The Valiant surged forward, diving deeper into the storm of rock and metal. Behind them, Kavor's fleet followed, their pride unwilling to let a single human vessel escape. As the asteroids closed around them like the jaws of a trap, Cross's mind sharpened. This was where the fight would turn. The asteroid field seethed with movement. Shattered rocks spun like blades around the Valiant, scraping sparks across the hull as the ship dove through narrow gaps. Every second felt like the edge of a blade. One wrong calculation, and they'd be crushed between stone and enemy fire. Shields holding at 42%, Harris reported, sweat glistening on his brow. But another hit like that, and we're wide open. Then we don't take another hit, Commander Aiden, Cross replied. His voice was measured, calm, as though he'd already calculated the endgame. Helm, bring us around that debris cluster. Use it as cover. Harris, prep the heavy lances. I want every shot at maximum charge. From the rear viewport, Kavor's fleet burned like a constellation of predators. 5 alien warships moved as one, weaving around asteroids with unnatural precision, their violet-lit hulls pulsing like living metal. "They're splitting formation," Ensign Rhea said, scanning her console. 3 ships pushing the flank, 2 holding center. "They're trying to pin us." Cross studied the holographic display. "He's tightening the noose. He thinks we'll panic." "Sir," Harris said, "we're already cornered. What's the play?" Cross's gray eyes flicked up, sharp and unshakable. "We set the belt on fire." The command deck froze for a second. "Fire the belt?" Rhea repeated. Cross gestured to the map. "Those magnetized asteroids are full of volatile gas pockets. One strong enough chain reaction, and we'll turn this entire sector into a killing ground. If we time it right, they'll be caught in the blast while we slip through the chaos." Harris hesitated. "That's a suicide move if we're too close." Cross allowed himself the faintest smirk. "Then we don't stay close." The Valiant began threading deeper into the asteroid belt, weaving through gaps narrower than her hull. Every jolt of the ship vibrated through the deck. "Load the fusion lances with overcharged parameters," Cross ordered. "Set the shots to destabilize the largest clusters. Harris, you and engineering calculate chain paths. I want precision." The crew moved fast, their fear replaced with the sharp focus of survival. Kavor watched from a flagship, his molten gold eyes narrowing. The human vessel was moving oddly, deliberate, purposeful. It wasn't running anymore. "They're setting something," Kavor murmured. "This one thinks like a predator." A subordinate officer tilted his head. "Shall we overwhelm them with full barrage?" Kavor's lip curled into something close to a sneer. "Not yet. I want to see their hand before I crush it." "Commander!" "First lance ready," Harris called out. "We're locked on the largest rock ahead." "Fire," Cross said. The forward cannons blazed, white-hot beams ripping through the dark. A colossal asteroid cracked under blast, its crust splintering into fiery shards. Gas vents erupted like solar flares, cascading sparks across the void. "Chain reaction spreading," Rhea reported, voice quickening. "That rock's going to blow." "Then move," Cross snapped. "Helm, thread us between those spires." Full burn. The Valiant shot forward as the asteroid detonated behind them, a boiling bloom of fire and debris that swallowed the lead Carthax ship. The blast tore chunks of black alloy from its hull, violet light flickering wildly. "They're hit," Harris shouted. Significant damage to their forward cruiser. Cross didn't celebrate. His mind was already 3 moves ahead. "Mark the chain path to the left cluster," he said. "We'll keep triggering blasts to disrupt their formation." The destroyer darted between drifting boulders, cannons firing in calculated bursts. Each shot sent another rock splitting open, explosions rippling like thunder through the vacuum. The asteroid field became a storm of fire and shrapnel. "They're breaking formation," Rhea said. "Kavor's flagship is pulling back to avoid the debris." Cross's voice dropped to a razor edge. "Not far enough." The comms flared suddenly. Kavor's face filled the main display, his angular features twisted with controlled fury. "Human," the alien warlord said, his voice deep and resonant. "Your defiance amuses me, but you will burn." Cross stepped forward, his posture unshaken. "You've already lost ships today, Kavor. Keep pushing and you'll lose more. Pull your fleet back." Kavor tilted his head, almost as if studying an insect that had bitten him. "Pull back? You mistake survival for victory. You are fragile. Your weapons crude. I could crush your ship with a thought." "Then try," Cross said flatly, "and see how many of your own ships you take down in the process." Kavor's eyes narrowed, the faintest glint of respect flickering there. "Interesting," he said softly. Then the transmission cut. "They're regrouping," Rhea reported. 3 ships circling the far side of the belt. Flagships advancing again. Cross leaned over the tactical display. "Good. We'll bait him in. Harris, prep the core surge. We'll use the Valiant's fusion core as a false target." "Sir, if that backfires." "It won't," Cross interrupted. Kavor's pride is predictable. He'll come straight at us if he thinks he's got a clear shot. The Valiant slowed, positioning itself in the densest part of the asteroid field. Its engines dimmed, hull plating cooling as if the ship were wounded prey. "They're taking the bait," Rhea said, watching the incoming signatures. Flagship moving to direct line of sight. "Wait," Cross murmured, eyes locked on the display. Closer? The alien flagship closed the distance, plasma cannons glowing with lethal light. "Now!" Cross barked. "Divert all reactor power to aft shields. Fire the overcharged lances into the gas pockets." The Valiant spun sharply, firing a blistering volley of fusion blasts into surrounding rocks. The gas pockets ignited, a chain of explosions ripping to the belt like a tidal wave of fire. The shock wave slammed into the Carthac flagship, knocking it off balance. Chunks of burning rock shredded its shields, tearing through its outer plating. Directed on their forward arrays. Harris shouted, triumph in his voice. "They're reeling!" But the Valiant wasn't unscathed. The blast wave caught its flank, rattling the hull and forcing the crew to grab their stations. Consoles flickered, alarms howling. "Damage to port engine." Harris reported, "We've lost 20% thrust." "Keep us steady," Cross ordered. "We finish this now." Kavor's voice boomed again, this time over an open frequency, distorted by static. "Human, you fight like a cornered beast." Cross's lips tightened. "And a cornered beast is the most dangerous kind." He turned to Harris. "Charge the heavy lances. Aim for his flagship's exposed core." "On it," Harris said, hands flying over the console. The Valiant's cannons flared, a final burst of pure energy slamming into the Carthac flagship. Sparks cascaded across its hull as systems overloaded. The once untouchable vessel now staggered, its crimson glow dimming to a pale flicker. "They're falling back," Rhea said breathlessly. "Kavor is pulling his fleet out of the belt." Cross exhaled, but his gaze remained hard. "Let them go. They've seen enough to know humanity won't break." The crew let out a ragged cheer, but Cross didn't join in. His mind was already on the next step. Kavor wasn't beaten. Not yet. The UHS Valiant drifted at the edge of the smoldering asteroid field, her hull charred, scars glowing faintly under emergency lights. Smoke curled to the ventilation shafts, and the deck plating trembled from every strain of the damaged engines. The crew worked without pause, patching systems, recalibrating shields, rerouting power through bypass circuits. They had survived, but the battle wasn't over. Commander Aiden Cross stood at the center of the bridge, his uniform torn at the shoulder, a faint smear of blood along his cheek. He didn't notice. His eyes were locked on a holographic projection of Kavor's retreating fleet. "They're not gone," Cross said quietly, voice cutting to the hum of repairs. "He's regrouping." Lieutenant Harris, leaning over the weapons console, frowned. "Sir, we barely have shields left. One good volley and we're dust. Are you saying we're going after them?" Cross turned slowly, his expression hard as steel. "No, we're going to make them come back. And when they do, we'll end this." Ensign Rhea looked up from communications, hesitant. "Commander, we got one functional broadcast array. I can send a message to Terran Command, but reinforcements are hours away at best." "Send it," Cross said. "Tell them what we've seen. Tell them humanity's first contact with the Carthac was fire and blood. And tell them we're still standing." Rhea hesitated, then smiled faintly. "Yes, sir." Hours passed in tense silence as the Valiant limped into a defensive position near the remnants of the freighters she had come to save. The field of wreckage floated like a graveyard, illuminated by the weak glow of distant suns. "Sir," Harris said, checking the tactical array, "our weapons are at half charge. Lance is still online, but torpedo racks are down to 3 rounds. We're stretched thin." "Thin is enough," Cross replied. He looked at the wreckage outside, jaw tightening. "They think we're fragile. We'll prove we're not." On the far side of the belt, Kavor's flagship glimmered with repaired shields. The alien warlord stood tall on his command deck, his golden eyes burning with resolve. The human vessel, small, scarred, had bloodied his fleet. It was an insult he would not forgive. Ready the forward armada, Cavor ordered. We strike once more. I will burn their courage from a void. Contact. Rhea's voice broke the stillness. Multiple warp signatures inbound. Cavor's fleet, 5 ships closing fast. Cross didn't hesitate. All hands to battle stations. Helm, keep us steady. Harris, prioritize forward shields and prep those last torpedoes. Harris's jaw tightened. Aye, sir. The first wave hit like a storm. Plasma fire rained across the Valiant shields, each impact shaking the deck like thunder. Sparks showered from the ceiling as circuits overloaded. Shields down to 30%. Harris shouted, "We won't hold if they keep pounding us like this." Cross's voice remained calm, unflinching. Target their lead ship. All forward fire. The Valiant roared to life, twin lances blazing white across the void. The beam slammed into the enemy flagship, ripping through its forward plating. One of the Valiant's last torpedoes followed, detonating with a burst that cracked the alien vessel's outer armor. "They felt that," Harris muttered, grim satisfaction in his voice. Cavor snarled as the deck of his flagship trembled. "This human refuses to die." A subordinate spoke nervously. "My lord, their weapons are efficient. Perhaps." Cavor silenced him with a glare. "Prepare the next barrage. I will tear their defiance apart." Back on the Valiant, alarm screamed as a second wave of plasma tore into the ship. Shields collapsed in a spray of light. The hull groaned under the strain, bulkheads shuddering. "Shields are gone." Harris yelled, "We're on bare armor now." Cross's voice was cold and sharp. "Then we fight with what we have. Fire again." The forward lances flared, their energy concentrated into a single burning shot. It cut through the darkness and slammed directly into Cavor's flagship. The alien ship staggered, its crimson glow sputtering. "Sir," Rhea said suddenly, "I'm picking up a new signal. It's human." Cross turned sharply. "Human?" "Yes," she said, disbelief in her tone. "A Terran cruiser just dropped out of FTL. The Indomitable." A grin broke across Harris's face. "We're not alone anymore." The Indomitable, a heavy Terran warship bristling with weapons, roared into the battlefield like a predator unleashed. Its cannons lit up the void, carving a path through the Carthag formation. "Valiant, this is Captain Mireille of the Indomitable. Came the transmission. We got your message. Hold your ground. We'll take it from here." Cross's chest tightened, not with relief, but with renewed fire. "Negative, Indomitable. This is our fight too. Let's finish it together." The battle shifted in seconds. The Indomitable's heavy cannon shattered 2 Carthag vessels, their hulls collapsing in violent bursts of molten debris. Cross seized the opening. "Target the crippled cruiser. Fire everything left," he ordered. The Valiant's final torpedo streaked through the chaos, striking the damaged alien vessel squarely. The explosion tore it in half, scattering wreckage into the asteroid field. Cavor's fury boiled over. "This is not over," he hissed, watching his fleet crumble. "Pull us out. We will return." His flagship turned sharply, engines flaring as a remnant of the Carthag armada withdrew into the void. The bridge of the Valiant fell silent as the last red marker vanished from the display. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Harris exhaled, leaning heavily against his console. "They're running," he said softly. Cross didn't move. His gaze remained on the empty stars. "No," he said. "They're regrouping. This was just the first round." Captain Mireille's face appeared on the display, stern but warm. "Commander Cross, your ship looks like it's been through hell." Cross allowed a faint smile. "That's because it has. But we're still here. You bought us time," Mireille said. "Terran Command will want to hear every detail about these aliens." "They'll hear it," Cross replied, "and they'll know that humanity stood its ground." Hours later, as the Valiant limped alongside the Indomitable, Cross stood alone at the viewport. The wreckage of Cavor's fleet drifted in silence, glowing faintly under the light of distant suns. Rhea approached quietly. "Sir," she said, "the crew's asking did we win?" Cross considered the question, his reflection hard in the glass. "No," he said. "This wasn't victory. This was a warning. She frowned. To them? To everyone, Cross said softly. The galaxy just learned who we are. In the distance, a faint glimmer marked the retreat of the Karthak. Cross watched it, jaw tightening. He knew Kavor would return, and when he did, the Terran fleet would be ready. Next time, Cross murmured, almost to himself, we'll show them just how loud humanity can roar.